Chiefs take on the Dolphins in one of the biggest matchups of the season to date in Frankfurt, Germany. How about that? We're going to take an in-depth look at the Chiefs' opponent this week, the Miami Dolphins. We're going to give you some keys to victory for Kansas City, along with a score prediction of the Chiefs versus Dolphins, and literally probably the biggest matchup of this upcoming weekend's games. Before we do that, though, there is one way you can help out both the Chiefs and the Chiefs Report. That's by liking this video. Let's try and get to 700 likes on this video for the 7th win that is about to come as the Chiefs, I promise you, we get to 700, they're taking over the Dolphins. I'm Jay Sanders, and you're watching the Chiefs Report. Let's get rolling. Appreciate you joining us as always, and boy, oh boy, we got a good show for today because we've got a good matchup coming up. The Chiefs, the Dolphins, AFC, I'm not going to call them rivals, but telling you what, with Tyreek Hill on the other side for the first time, there's a little something brewing. Let's look at both of these teams from a little bit of a microscopic lens here. Scoring offense for the Chiefs, a little bit, let's say, higher than usual, 12th in the National Football League, whereas the Dolphins, 33.9 points per game is first. Now, here's the thing. They had 70 points in one game. That kind of helps your scoring offense. I will say that. Scoring defense, well, the Dolphins, not the greatest, 25.5, and then 25th in the NFL. How funny there, 25 and 25th. Scoring defense, 16 points per game for the Chiefs, second in the NFL. This defense has been absolutely insane. And so the first question we have to ask you, Chiefs coming off a loss against the Broncos. Miami, looking good. Who do you got in this matchup? If you think it's Kansas City, then type KC. If you think it's the Dolphins, then type MIA for Miami. Chiefs, Dolphins, who you got? KC for the Chiefs. MIA for the Dolphins. All right, the Dolphins key players, a lot of firsts running around here. A lot of firsts. You have Tua Tagovailoa, who is first in passing yards. You have Tyreek Hill, who is first in receiving yards. Those two probably go hand in hand. And then Raheem Mostert is first in rushing touchdowns. Kind of a surprising fact there, but telling you, whenever the Dolphins get close, they just give it to Mostert, and he kind of rams it in there. They do have Devon Achane. He is actually injured, though. Won't be playing this game. He's honestly the better rusher of Mostert and Achane. He won't be there, though. Hill coming back to the Chiefs, though. I tell you what, I'm not going to say this is a revenge game for the Cheetah, but it's certainly a return. Well, kind of, though. I mentioned at the top of the show that this game is in Germany, so he's not coming back to Arrowhead Stadium. He's not going to have this picture. He's going to have this, the Chiefs and German. Well, that's kind of interesting because Tyreek Hill wanted to come back and play in Kansas City. He wanted to kind of play in Arrowhead. We'll get to why he wanted to do that and kind of what happened with that in just a moment. But let's talk about this Germany matchup because it's only the second game ever in Germany. Last year there was a game in Munich. That's why this is the first game in Frankfurt. Now this is one of two games in Germany as the Colts and the Patriots will also play in Germany in the upcoming weeks. And this is the third of 5 international games. Done a good job here for the NFL. I like this international series. They've got a couple of London games, got the Germany games. It's really nice. I hear they're trying to go to Paris sometime soon as well. I'm excited for what the NFL has in store for the international series. And I'm glad the Chiefs get to be a part of it, especially in a marquee matchup with the Dolphins. Okay, before we get into our keys to victory, our score prediction, everything to go along with that, well, help me out and predict the score in the comment section of today's video. Chiefs versus Dolphins. What do you got in this matchup? Give me a score because, listen, I think this could be a high-scoring affair. I think this could be a low-scoring affair. I don't really know. I want to know what you think. Maybe you have a better mind than me. So predict the score in the comment section below. Let's go look at these two quarterbacks because I mentioned Tua Tagovailoa is the #1 passing yards quarterback. Well, Patrick Mahomes is not that far, and let's be quite honest. If he had a wide receiver 1, probably would be above Tua. 68.8 completion percentage for Patrick, 70 for Tua, 18 touchdowns to 7 interceptions for Mr. Tagovailoa, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. The average in favor of Tua. These two quarterbacks, though, listen, they played really well this year, and I'm excited to see this matchup. This is a really fun QB matchup. If you're a fan of QBs, this is your matchup to watch. Okay, let's look at some keys to victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. The first one is for the offense to get going. Now, I will say this. There's been a lot of talk about how this offense hasn't been performing the way it should be. This offense shouldn't be this bad. but they're really not that bad. If you look at the in-depth Chiefs offensive stats here, 4th in yards per play, 2nd in yards per drive, 4th in points per drive, 6th in touchdowns per drive, 5th in expected points per play, 7th in success rate, 4th in expected points per drop back, and 12th in scoring offense. This offense should be good. I don't know why it's really, I'm not going to say not good, but if you look at those stats, you would think this would be the number 1 offense in the NFL, or at least top 5, right? I mean, every one of those stats, they were top 10, yet this offense is 12th in scoring. It makes no sense, so you got to get rolling. And I'm going to get rolling this weekend with Prize Picks, as it is the number 1 daily fantasy sports app in North America, and it's easy to see why. Now, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game, and with basketball season here, it's the perfect time to start Prize Picks. You can pick combo projections across the NBA and NFL, so you can pick the more on Travis Kelce touchdowns and the more on Jason Tatum points in the same entry. Check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks is even offering a reboot policy so that even if one of your players gets injured, your entry stays in play. For football or basketball games, if you have a player who exits in the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Now, knowing that, I'm going to put some injuries on Thursday Night Football. There's some injuries that happen every now and then, but I'm putting my entries on the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going Titans across the board here. Will Levis, 202.5 passing yards. I'm going the more on that. Had a good game last week with DeAndre Hopkins. Had good connection there. Derrick Henry, he's only had 2 100 rushing yard games of the year, but the Steelers defense has not been that great. I'm going with the more in rushing yards. And then Derrick Henry and Okonkwo, a half touchdown. Listen, Derrick Henry will do that himself. I think he's going to score a touchdown against Steelers. And even if he doesn't, I have Okonkwo as the backup option. I'm going the more there on the half touchdown. I think it's going to happen. And listen, make sure you go put in your Prize Picks right now. Thursday Night Football tonight, it's a good time to put it in. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Our second key to victory is to control Tyreek Hill, control the cheetah. This is going to be better, easier said than done. He has been a menace this year. He already has 1,000 yards. That's insane. 8 games played, 1,000 yards, average sitting above 16, touchdowns at 8. Now he catches a lot of passes, but golly, it just is incredible what he is doing. And listen, Hill is amped for this game. This is the first time Tyreek is going to see the Chiefs as an opponent. And in fact, he had some, I'm not going to say fighting words, I'm not going to say like critical words, but some words for Chiefs Kingdom a couple months ago when talking about this game. But at the time, it was going to be at Arrowhead. Obviously, got moved as the international game in Germany. He said this, though, on a podcast. Chiefs Kingdom, when the Miami Dolphins come to Arrowhead Stadium, obviously not coming to Arrowhead now, guess what we're going to do? Guess what we're going to do? I hate to throw up the peace sign against y'all. I hate to do it, but guess what? I'm going to be y'all's worst enemy that day. You better change the signals. I know every single play you all got. Well, guess what, Tyreek? I think they will change the play calls, bud. Oh, boy. Which, Tyreek, he was a good receiver of the Chiefs. Kind of leads us into our next key to victory, which is catch the ball. Now, this is going to apply to Rashee Rice. This is going to apply to Marques Valdez-Scantling. This is going to apply to Skyy Moore. This is going to apply to even Travis Kelce and Kadarius Toney. Listen, drops have been an insane problem this year for the Chiefs. 15 drops. We're in week 8. That can't be happening. Now, a lot of these are coming from Rashee Rice and Marques Valdez-Scantling. Honestly, it's crazy, though. 15 is a lot, but it seems like it probably could be in the 20s area. You've got to get something going this game because this could potentially be a shootout. This is the best offense the Chiefs' defense has faced. They've been good up until now. I think they will hold tight, but just to be safe, I want this offense rolling, especially with the Miami defense that has not been really adequate even this year. Do you trust this wide receiver core? You have Rashee Rice. who we've talked about before. I think he could be the wide receiver one. You have Kadarius Toney, who was labeled as that wide receiver one. You have Marques, Valdez-Scantling. Richie James could potentially be there. You got Justin Watson playing well. What do you expect? Do you trust this wide receiver core? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. You got Skyy Moore in there who, listen, he dropped a pass in this past week against the Broncos, but I kind of share the same sentiment as Andy Reid. He was dragged down a little bit. Now, should he have still caught it? Yes, but there was some pulling and tugging. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you trust this wide receiver core? Here's a break for it. All right, here's another key to victory. Run the ball. I don't understand what happened last week, but you're going into Denver, which, by the way, had a snow-filled night the night prior of the game. Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes had the flu, did not look, I'm not going to say completely healthy. He looked good on the field, but he didn't look completely healthy. And yet, Pacheco's stats, 8 carries. Andy Reid, what are we doing? This guy's averaging 5 yards per carry, and you only give him the ball 8 times? The first run of the game, he had a 19-yard rush. What is going on? Especially in a game that the receivers were struggling. The ball was being bounced around. There were 5 turnovers. You know what? None of those came from Pacheco because he never got the dang ball. It baffles me how sometimes Andy Reid is such an amazing coach. He does some amazing things. But at the same time, Reid out-coaches himself. You have a guy, you have an asset like Isaiah Pacheco who can average 5 yards per carry, but he only gets 8 carries. This was an early season problem that I thought we got past. I thought Andy Reid said, listen, we're going to use him more. Now that you have Jerick McKinnon, who, he's not practiced yesterday, who's to say what his availability is going to be for this Sunday's game? If he's going to be 100%, I don't know. Either way, you got to run Isaiah Pacheco more. I thought this was an early season problem that was going to be solved by now. But the fact that he's not getting at least 15 carries in a game that was snowy, in a game that Patrick Mahomes had the flu, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Let's just forget about it, move on. This week, you need to use him more, and I think they will. And I think the Chiefs get the victory as well. Final score, 38-31 is my prediction. Listen, the Chiefs did lose last week to the Broncos. That is a fact. But you know what the Chiefs also do? They always bounce back, and they take losses on the dang chin. You know what happened last time they lost? 6-game winning streak. Let's hope for the same there. In some ways, this was almost a wake-up call. You got the Dolphins, you got a bye, you got the Eagles. Let's go 2-0 in the next 3 weeks, and everything is solved. Listen, I appreciate you listening to my Pacheco rant, and I appreciate you watching this video. We're going to have a full watch party for this Sunday game, 8:30 p.m. Or a.m. 8:30 a.m. What am I saying? A.m. Germany. Man, it's going to be an early morning, but we're going to be up. We're going to be ready. We're going to be live at around 7:30. Me and producer Sam. We're going to be running it back, and I'm telling you, we're going to have a good time. So make sure you join us. And again, let's try and get 700 likes on this video for the 7th win that we know the Chiefs are going to get. Peace out.